today's craft video is going to be making a sheet load of cards. This is a free PDF that has been provided by Alesha over at Call Me Crafty Al, and on the first of the month, every month for about a year or so now, she produces one of these PDFs for her subscribers that's free. It yields between 6 and 12 cards. This particular one is for 9. You've got a list of supplies, you've got a list of dimensions, you've got a card sketch, alternatives, and then when we turn it over, we've got a cutting guide for cutting up your 8.5 by 11 cardstock and your pattern paper. Usually the pattern paper is 12 by 12, but she has done the odd one where it's 6 by 6 as well, which is quite good. On here we've also got a hashtag. In this case it's hashtag SUYSFeb 2021 or hashtag show us your sheet load. When people post videos or Instagram posts or blog posts and they put this hashtag in, it means that you can actually do a search for other people with that hashtag and get loads of ideas for doing your own sheet load of cards. Now, before we get started, there is one thing that I want to say. As you can probably tell from my accent, I am a UK crafter and I'm here in the UK. If you are not an American crafter, you need to be aware that this resource, brilliant though it is, makes an A2 sized card. An A2 sized card is standard for America. It's not necessarily standard for the rest of the world. And I'll show you why in a second. Okay, in the US, standard card size is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. If I cut that in half and then fold each half, I get something that is that size. That is the size of an A2 US card, which is a standard size card, 5.5 inches tall, 4.25 inches wide. Doesn't matter whether it's that way up or that way up. That's what you get when you cut that in half and fold it. In the UK, we don't have 8.5 by 11 as a standard size card. We have A4. And A4 is 8.25 by 11 5/8. So it is narrower that way, but longer that way. And when I cut that in half and fold it to form a card base, what I end up is something that has an A6 in UK terminology size. Okay, now that is approximately, because normally this is measured in millimetres and I'm telling you in inches, it's approximately 5 7/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch. So if I put these two side by side, you can see that the UK one is slightly taller but narrower, and the US one is a bit shorter and a bit wider. So if I buy standard UK envelopes, they're going to fit this one, but they're not going to fit this one. So if I am using Alesha's PDF, I've made a note on there it's A2, and I need to make absolutely certain that the envelopes I buy to go with it are A2 envelopes. They are available, but I will need to make double sure that the ones that I get are the right ones. Because if I just go into any stationer's in the high street and just buy a standard set of envelopes, they'll be that size, not that size. Okay, let's get started. Okay, card bases. Now, the cutting instructions say to use, where are we? 5 8.5 by 11 solid cardstocks, cut and fold into 10 card bases and save the extra for your project. So if you are using 8.5 by 11, you will get 2 card bases from each piece of card. Of course, I'm not using 8.5 by 11 because I have to pay a premium for it here in the UK, so I'm using A4. And I'm going to get 1 card base from each sheet. So the way I'm going to cut it is have it landscape. I do apologise for the squeaking. So you need to burn my guillotine. 11, which is going to give me a little piece for fishtails or banners or something like that. Turn it round, cut it at 4 1/4. This piece is my card base. Piece is 4 1/4 wide. Fold in half. The other piece, which isn't quite 4 1/2, it's actually about 4 1/8, is for stamping or doing sentiments on or something like that. So I now have my 8 card bases from 8 pieces of A4, and I have enough extra pieces to stamp all my sentiments and or images and that kind of thing on, plus some left over. Okay, so in terms of materials, it means that I can actually discard the one sheet of what is described as CS2, which is the pale cardstock for the sentiments, because I don't need to cut 9 pieces from that. Okay, there we go. Okay, card bases done. Now for my sentiments, on the instructions it says cut 9 pieces that are 2 inches by 2.5 inches for your sentiments and cut and print them. However, last month Alesha gave a PDF for some free sentiments, so I've printed those out. I'm going to use those. All I need to do is cut those on the crop planes, and there is more than enough for my 9 cards, so some of them will go in my stack. So we've got the card bases done, we've got the sentiments done, although I will have to be a little bit careful when I'm doing the matting, because some of them are slightly bigger than others. I might need to re-centre some of those. Next thing is 12 by 12 paper. I've got 3 sheets. Each of the 3 sheets is going to be cut according to the cutting guide, and it's going to be cut in the same way. I have been a little bit cunning, and I've got double-sided papers, so both sides of that will go with the other 2. Both sides of that one will kind of go with the other 2. I'm going to hide that side. I don't like that side. But there we go. Let's get those cut. Now for my matting, again I'm using A4, and according to the instructions I need 9 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and then 9 pieces that are 2 1/2 by 3/4 inch, and then the other pieces of cardstock are actually for the image. We've already got those. So what am I missing? I'm missing this one. I'm missing the bit for the banner. How big is the bit for the banner? That's 2.5 by 0.75. Okay, so there's the mat to go behind the second largest shape. So that's the big shape. We've got the mat to go behind this one. That is fitting straight on there with no matting, and then we've got the banner. So let's see how many we can get. So I'm going to cut at 3.25. Then 4.5. I need 9 of these. I need 1. Come on, go straight. Okay. This at 4.5. Let's sliver off of that. And then cut that way at 3.35. So that's 3. 4, 5, sheet number 2 is going to be cut in the same way. my 9 cards. I'd like to thank Alesha for being generous enough to actually share her designs. If you would like to know where to get the PDF to make your own sheetload of cards, look in the description down below this video, and there's also a link to the PDF for the sentiments as well, which are of course free. If you like the cards, let me know. If you don't like them, also let me know. And if you've made your own, please feel free to share, because I love seeing what other people have done. Have a nice day.